What if everything you think you know about Queen Elizabeth's death is a lie? 8 hours of silence. Missing witnesses. A funeral that buried more than a body. Stay with me, the mask is about to slip. For 45 years, Elizabeth Tudor ruled England with silk and iron. The Virgin Queen victorious against the Armada, the face on coin and portrait. Official history says she died peacefully. But behind the velvet curtains at Richmond Palace, witnesses disagreed. Papers vanished and 6 people closed the door to the Queen's chamber and never let anyone else in. Tonight, we'll piece together what happened in Elizabeth's final days, the rumors, the odd behaviors, and the cover-up that may have started before she even took her last breath. Why 1600, Elizabeth was 67, elderly by Tudor standards. But she had rules. Never show weakness. To hide the wounds of smallpox and the ravages of time, she wore a literal mask, white lead paint mixed with vinegar and wigs, dozens of them. What looks like court vanity suddenly reads like something more sinister. The same cosmetics that preserved her image were slowly destroying her health. Servants later described her shaking so badly she couldn't sign papers, and fingers blackened at the nails, classic signs of heavy metal poisoning. When the Queen's body began to fail, a small group stepped in. Robert Cecil, the chief minister, and a handful of courtiers essentially ran the country behind a curtain of staged audiences and controlled lighting. They decided who could see the Queen, when, and in what condition. Elizabeth had weaponized uncertainty about succession, no heir named, and that uncertainty became a battlefield. In the months before her death, Elizabeth's behavior grew stranger. She spoke to her portraits, literally asking the painted version of herself for counsel at 3 a.m. She slept standing up, saying, "If I lie down, I shall never rise again." She rearranged her paintings dozens of times a month. She refused food unless a designated taster tried it first. Midnight wanderings, hoarding small objects like coins and buttons, and most shockingly a spontaneous solo dance in court for 20 minutes. Was this a breaking mind, slow poison, or something darker? On March 10, 1603, Elizabeth moved to Richmond Palace. Over the next weeks, accounts diverge. Some say quiet prayer, others report rage and conversations with invisible people. On March 18, she allegedly touched her throat, "I am not well." And on March 24, she died supposedly around 3:00 a.m., but the world wasn't told until nearly 11:00 a.m. 8 hours of silence in a locked palace. Who controlled those 8 hours and why? Within hours, an information campaign began. Robert Cecil dispatched pre-written papers to Scotland announcing James's succession. The Queen's physician was dead 3 days later, heart failure. Key witnesses changed their testimonies after sudden financial favors. The Queen's private rooms were gutted and renovated, tapestries, furniture, and belongings destroyed or removed. Several court figures simply vanish from records. The official death notice, when scrutinized, contains impossible details and anachronisms. Independent witnesses who saw the body days later reported rapid decomposition, inconsistent with natural death. Was the scene staged? Was the body moved or tampered with during the 8-hour lockdown? And why were bottles of arsenic and other poisons reportedly found under Richmond decades later and classified? If a queen, the most watched woman in Europe, can be silenced and the truth buried, what does that say about power? Did someone help her die to avoid prolonged madness and a worse succession crisis? Murder or political conspiracy? Radical factions and foreign powers had motive. A Spanish ambassador wrote of succession developments days before the official announcement: suspicious knowledge at best, proof of collusion at worst. Each theory is chilling in its own way: accidental poisoning through cosmetics, a merciful but secretive assisted ending, or a cold political elimination. The official story of Elizabeth E's death fits neatly into a national myth: the Virgin Queen, glorious to the end. But the messier reality, conflicting testimonies, missing witnesses, rapid renovations, convenient deaths suggest something else. Maybe she was poisoned by her cosmetics. Maybe AIDS helped her end her suffering. Maybe powerful men covered their tracks to control succession. We may never know the whole truth, but the cracks in the story are undeniable. Which theory do you find most convincing? Tell me in the comments. I read them all. If you enjoyed this deep dive, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. I've got more untold stories from history coming. If you want to follow up, I can do a video just on the evidence, letters, inventory logs, and the little-known names who disappeared. Thanks for watching, and remember, history loves a good secret.